Hello guys, gals and gamers, and welcome back to another video. This time we are talking about Pikmin Bloom, the new mobile game released by Niantic and Nintendo that just released. And we're seeing, does it really succeed in being a copy of Pokemon Go? Not really, it's actually up to a pretty disastrous start. Let's talk about why that is. Okay, before we begin, I would just like to remind everyone to please like and subscribe. Yay, the general YouTube stuff. But also comment down below because I actually want to start a discussion with my videos and I would really appreciate it. And if you still want to be extra nice to me, you can just share this video with everyone you know. Everyone. There will be also videos every Monday, so stay tuned for those. But for now, let's just get back into the actual topic of this video, which is Pikmin Bloom. So as I said, just recently released this week for me, and I have just been playing it for a few days, and it's not up to really the best start. It hasn't had the best numbers from people who have downloaded it. It has made some like 30k in revenue, which is alright, pretty good. But just in like social media and stuff, I have not seen that many people talking about the game. YouTube I checked, not many videos, not a lot of views on those videos either. So I don't see a lot of like big interest in this game. And I don't really blame it. Pikmin Bloom is on kind of a uphill battle, to be honest. And that's because it's really hard to copy what Pokemon Go did. The game is basically trying to copy the success of Pokemon Go, but with the Pikmin IP. But it can't really do that because it's very hard to copy Pokemon Go. Why is that? Why is it so hard to copy Pokemon Go, you might ask? Well, first, the IP of Pokemon is just perfect for this AR map game where you go around and capture Pokemon. The IP is also like really big, appeals to a wide audience of people, and you don't even necessarily have to be familiar with Pokemon to get into Pokemon Go because there's just so much to do and you get into it really quickly. Like, oh, these Pokemon are cute, there's so many different Pokemon, they all have their unique abilities, moves, and types that there's just a lot of variety in the things that you can collect. And I think a collection game is really one of the most fitting things to have if you're making an AR based map game. And you might also think that, hey, what about big IPs that are also popular, like Harry Potter or Minecraft? They also had AR map games. Why did they fail? Well, to put it briefly, so we can actually get back into the topic quickly, Harry Potter kind of didn't just get enough audience. There was not enough to do, not enough incentives to keep people playing. You could do spells against monsters and defend it, but you can do that in other games too. And the AR map thing wasn't that really necessary. And Minecraft, well, it focused too much on the AR, so it could not run on phones that are older or just not so very high end. And also, it released at a really bad time, being December 2019, just 2 months before like the pandemic and everything, forcing you to stay home and not being with friends, which is, very important for an AR map game. Number two, for Pokemon Go, why it is so good is that the mechanics just are so well infused with what the game is trying to be, and there's just a lot for you to come back to. As I said, loads of different Pokemon, loads of stuff to collect. You can battle with those Pokemon, make friends with those Pokemon. Very much like good social elements in the game, so you can play with your friends easily and build a community of people playing. Very, very good. And yeah, AR games, just like they are very different from regular mobile games. They require a lot from the player compared to like other games. You could like have a traditional match 3 game, which would just, you have to open it up. But for Pokemon Go and other AR map games, you will have to be outside, you will have to go on walks. It requires more from you than traditional like Candy Crush or whatever have you. So yeah. And number three for Pokemon Go, it started off as a craze. Loads of public attention when it launched, loads of like news articles, people were talking about it non-stop on social media, everywhere. That kind of success is very hard to replicate organically because it's basically impossible. And also, it was like the first big thing to do what it did. So, of course, every game that tries to do the same thing will be immediately compared to Pokemon Go. So, yes, let's put all of that knowledge that we learned on why it is hard to make a Pokemon Go game to what Pikmin Bloom is kind of trying to be. Pikmin Bloom, as I said, is up against a pretty big uphill battle. The IP is definitely not near as popular as Pokemon is, and just the gameplay of Pikmin Bloom doesn't immediately appeal to people the same way as Pokemon did. A lot of people just like fantasize about what if the Pokemon world is real, but people don't really have that connection to Pikmin. And especially with the game mechanics being planting flowers all over the place, that will not appeal to, say, young boys. They're like, ew, flowers, I don't like that. So they will be turned off by the game. So it's not as appealing. Also, when you open up the game, people are a bit confused on what to actually do in it. It is kind of marketed as, hey, you can go and plant flowers all over the place and cover the whole world in flowers. That's the game. But that's only like a small portion of the game. And the actual main goal is also trying to be like a collection game in the similar vein of Pokemon Go. But here too, you only have 7 different Pikmin. A collection game with 7 things to collect. Why? Well, Pikmin Bloom tries to cover this up by having all sorts of different costumes for the Pikmin to wear. And you can get these from going to the movie theater. You will have a movie related Pikmin. If you go to a bus station, you will have a Pikmin wearing a bus or something. So there will be more of that, but I'm not sure like what do all of these costumes do? Why do I want them? Like from the point of, yeah, I have them now, but what can I do with them now that I have them? So that's a bit confusing. Also, what's the difference between different types of Pikmin in this game? Of course, like in the main game, there are stuff like the red Pikmin can withstand fire, and the blue one can breathe underwater, that kind of stuff. But I don't see any personal traits for the Pikmin I collect. Like, I got a yellow Pikmin and I got a red Pikmin. Why should I grow red Pikmin instead of the yellow one? What's the benefit for me? That's a bit, unclear at the moment. They should definitely build on that. But yeah, there's also like loads of cool stuff done better than they are doing in Pokemon Go. A lot of features I like, for example, like if you go to a movie theater, you get a movie related Pikmin, which is cool. I wish Pokemon Go did that more. Like you go to an actual place and there's Pokemon like that in that place. The Pokemon Go does this a bit, but not as well. The Pokemon feel more random and that kind of stuff. And I also like how Pikmin Bloom focuses more on steps you do instead of like the distance you walk. Small things I like. And I just must say, like Pikmin Bloom, of all the criticism, it still has a lot more to do than Pokemon Go in the beginning. But Pokemon Go had the advantage of having about 150 monsters to collect and people already attached to those monsters. So you might be thinking to yourself, why even release Pikmin Bloom at this point at all? Pikmin is not nearly as popular of an IP. People are not attached to it that much. It hasn't sold particularly well, a few million copies sometimes, but still, which is good, but not Pokemon numbers, and it can't compete with Pokemon in any way. Why release it? Well, I don't think anyone is expecting this to be more popular than Pokemon Go. Of course not. It will not be nearly as successful as Pokemon Go. And I think Nintendo and Niantic knows this. Nintendo just doesn't care about the profits that much. Of course, it's good to make money, but they're not as money hungry as something like EA, Activision, or even Niantic. And they just like to be more experimental, make fun games and that kind of stuff. Especially now that like Miyamoto is involved with Pikmin, which explains a lot. He loves gardening. He also likes Pokemon Go. Uh, so combining Pikmin and Pokemon Go is definitely a game that I could imagine Miyamoto wanting to make, and hey, he did it. I think just the plan is to expand the IP, try and expand the IP to people who are not familiar with Pikmin, and maybe do some more Pikmin stuff, maybe more shorts, a cartoon, and they also appear in the Universal Park. I think there are some Pikmin Easter eggs there because Miyamoto is again involved and he just loves Pikmin. So maybe Miyamoto is just trying to get the IP a bit more out there. Not necessarily to make huge loads of money. I don't think he will expect it to be a worldwide sensation like Pokemon Go was, but expand the IP a bit. Bring it to people in a way that they can access without having to buy a Nintendo Switch or any of the other Nintendo consoles. Experience Pikmin in a very relaxing, simplistic version of Pokemon Go. I think that is the point. But yeah, going to like the future, what kind of future content should it have to really become more of a success? I think the first thing is just be clear what the game is really about. And at the moment, it is marketed as, hey, you can plant flowers and make the whole world covered in flowers, which is, it's a thing you can do in the game, but it's definitely not like the main point, really, I would say. And that's not really that appealing to many people. If you like flowers, that is appealing, but otherwise, you can just say, hey, it's a collection game. You have this cute little Pikmin that follow you and do work for you, and they're just cute, they're adorable. You can see them doing all kinds of stuff. Hey, you should get this game so you can experience the fun of Pikmin. It's a very wholesome and charming game. Give it a shot. That kind of marketing, I would definitely go for more. Of course, they are marketing as cute and wholesome already, but it's just like the main appeal should not be like planting the world in flowers, I think. Also, make it more obvious on why do we need the different Pikmin? Why should I collect all of the costumes? Why should I collect more red Pikmin instead of yellow Pikmin? What's the difference? What kind of attributes do they have differentiating each other? Also, people have been talking about, hey, maybe add combat to the game. I'm not entirely sure if they want that. It would be a really good way of bringing new people in and having more things for the Pikmin to do. But I don't think they want to kill off the Pikmin as much as they do in the main games. So that might be a thing against it. Maybe they just like faint like Pokemon. But yeah, Pikmin usually die by the dozens in like regular Pikmin games. And if they're marketing like, hey, look at these cute creatures, and I don't think it could work. Maybe some level of combat would be cool, but we'll see. We'll see. And then, of course, just like add more social features and goals for the players to do. And social features are really, really important. Go on walks with friends. What's more that you can do with your friends? Currently, they have a friend feature, but all you can do is like send postcards to each other, which is like sending gifts in Pokemon Go without getting any of the items. So there's not really any benefit. You can just say, hey, I'll see you. The other people are just like, okay, cool, but why? So yeah, it doesn't really, there's not much of a social thing in this game, and social features are really important for like a female audience, which I think the game is going for. Definitely not a young male audience. I think it's quite the opposite. And the last thing is just have a solid vision for the end game. And this is something Pokemon Go is actually struggling with at the moment, because what happens in Pokemon Go when you have all of the Pokemon in the game, there's not anything more to add, and they're getting kind of closer and closer to that point and slowing down now because there's not so many Pokemon to add anymore, and you can definitely see that there's a decline in players now. So what is your end game? What will you do? What is the finished game going to look like that you will just update a bit and a bit, not adding so many features anymore, but still keep players playing? What can you do? So yeah, those are my thoughts on Pikmin Bloom. What do you think? Have you played the game? What kind of features would you like to see in it? And just thank you for watching, and check out my other videos and subscribe. I will just see you guys next time. Bye bye.